So here we are. Welcome everyone to this month's Ladies Who Lunch Conversations. I want to thank everybody for always tuning in and for your very generous support. So today we have an extraordinary guest, and I want to say I was introduced to her by my friend Frank Vizard, who wrote the book Made in New York, and Alice Chun is featured in one of the last chapters in the book, and I was so taken with her. I'm going to read a little bit about her bio, but you can find it on her website, which is SoLightDesigns.com. I'm Leanne. I'm your host for Ladies Who Lunch, and we're welcoming Alice Chun. Thank you. So here, while teaching as a professor in architecture and material technology at Columbia University, which is very fancy right off the bat there, Alice created early prototypes of solar lights with her students. Still not satisfied and fueled by her passion for helping the underserved, Alice invented the world's only self-inflatable portable solar light, eliminating the need for a mouth nozzle. This ensured a healthy, sanitary method to inflate the whole light like that. Alice named this invention the SolarPuff, which I love that name. It's just so life-affirming and pretty, and conducted 3 years of field testing in Haiti. In 2015, she launched SoLight Design and initiated a Kickstarter program with unprecedented results. She went on to win numerous awards, including the U.S. Patent Award for Humanity, the 2022 Forbes Women in Impact Award, and her products have been exhibited at MoMA, the Modern Museum of Art in New York City. She is honored as one of Marie Claire's most influential women, and in 2022, she was featured on the Apple TV Plus docuseries Gutsy with Hillary and Chelsea, episode 6, and I watched that. It was really tremendous. So officially welcome. I salute you. Cheers. I always have a little bit of champagne with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you,
So
Leanne.
thank you so much for honoring us. So I have to ask first, like, what was your aha moment? Had you been muddling this over for some time and this came to you, or was it like, no pun intended, like a flash of light?
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I always talk about invention as something that is an opportunity that happens to us. So, the Greeks believed that there were two lines of time. Chronos is an old figure, and he's predictable, and his line of time is straight. And then there's Kioros, who has wings on his feet and he flits and flies about, and he's unpredictable, insequential, and he's hard to catch. And that line of time is erratic and unpredictable. So when those two lines of time intersect, the predictable and the unpredictable, then those are the moments of opportunity. So when my son was born, he was born with asthma, and we were going to the doctor's office so many times. There were so many children with asthma, and I realized this is way higher number of infant illnesses than when I was a child. And there's a saying, a worried mom does better research than the FBI.
That's true. I love that.
And that's basically what I did, was researched, and it turned out that because of pollution in every urban context, many children have asthma. There's autism, illnesses that are directly related to our environment. And so that was when I decided to focus on solar energy as my research when I was a professor at Columbia University. I was also a material technology specialist at Parsons the New School and I was the director of the materials lab there.
Oh.
So the trend in materials is that everything's getting thinner, lighter, faster, and stronger. And early on, I was sewing solar panels to fabric and thin film substrates to
What
get,
what what did you think you were going to make early on? Was it just, is your son's name
well, I
Quinn?
I just knew that new innovation had to happen, combining solar energy and our everyday lives. So um, it was initially basically just trying to integrate light with solar panels and thin substrates, because material technology is getting thinner and thinner and lighter. So I shared this technology with my students at Columbia University after the Haiti earthquake happened.
Oh,
So another time for, the unpredictable and taking a step back and leaning in to see what we can do in terms of a challenge. So when the Haiti earthquake happened, I turned my studio around to be an innovation studio to help Haiti. And we learned then that kerosene is a deadly toxic fuel. 2 billion people in the world have no access to electricity, and they're using kerosene. 2 million children die in South Africa alone. There's 200,000 fires due to kerosene lanterns. And diesel generators are extremely toxic as well. So when I learned that people were spending up to 30% of their income on kerosene, I realized that, if they could save that money by having a solar light,
right.
they could use that money for food, for clothing for their children, for creating a new job, for education. So I researched every solar light out there on the market, and every light was made out of hard plastic, heavy, bulky, utilitarian looking. And I decided to use origami because I grew up doing origami as a Korean American. My mother taught me origami when I was little. And I realized that origami, the collapsible part of folding, is really advantageous for shipping products, especially for cost of shipping gets lighter. You get to
Flat.
have more room, and so all of our lights collapse with origami design. And the first product is actually called the SolarPuff. This is the SolarPuff here, and you can
Uh-huh.
see it's kind of a polygon shape, and it's very thin, and then it pops open into a cube. And I researched every kind of fabric out there on the market, and this is made from sailcloth. You can see the triaxial weave there. It goes
Okay.
in three directions. It's
Uh-huh.
a beautiful pattern, and it also kind of looks Asian with the pattern. It gives off a very nice spectrum of light, and
I
you can fold it flat, and it's extremely light. You don't even know that it's in your bag or your backpack. And early on, I had a glued up, duct taped, handmade solar puff, which I showed at a tech conference in Haiti in 2010. And in
yeah.
walks Bill Clinton and the president of Haiti. And I show him this light, and he says, "What? Come over here. Come, everybody, come over here. Look at this." And he was blown away. He loved it. Fast forward 7 years, and the Hurricane Maria hits Puerto Rico,
Mm.
and we're able to get over 100,000 lights to people in need there. 3 million people had no power after Hurricane Maria.
Wow. How did you do you donate the solar puffs or
Yep,
just
we
purchase them?
do. A certain percentage of our profits go to giving light, and also customers can come to our website solight-design.com to give a light to our certain humanitarian missions. Right now, we're
We
working to help Morocco. Marrakesh has been devastated by the earthquakes. This year, I went to Ukraine to deliver lights to children in need there.
oh my
This particular light is the multicolored solar puff, and you can see that it has different colors. And the different colors are actually therapeutic, where blue light is used for depression, green light is used for um, headaches, the red light calms your neurosynapses so that you calm down. And many of the children after Hurricane Maria, the these lights in particular were used for PTSD therapy in children. It really helped them to sleep at night, and they played games with it. And when I heard about the children in trauma in Ukraine, I decided I had to go because the Russians were bombing all of the power stations.
You're
There
right.
were power outages all over. There's still power outages in the front line,
I
and
know.
I
When I say
delivered.
you're like the Tinkerbell, giving light to all of these disaster recovery sites. I mean, some people could say you're like, the Jose Andres of disasters, but do you get requests from the disaster sites or do you seek them out? How do you know? I mean, there's so many disasters with climate chaos around the world besides war.
Correct. Yeah. So each case is different. So we work with nonprofit partners that work all over the world in disaster relief, and sometimes we partner with them and they get our lights to the regions that need it most. Like we have people with our partner organization, Operation Blessings, is in Morocco right now, handing out our lights. Sometimes I go myself. In Ukraine, we didn't have any partners inside the country itself. They were mostly working in Poland with refugees that were escaping the country. So I went in particular for the children in the hospitals.
Yeah.
And I met so many amazing kids that had gone through the most horrible, tremendous um, trauma, such
Yeah.
as, witnessing their family shot and killed in front of them. I met teenagers that lost their limbs and arms and legs from shrapnel. And when I walk in with the light, their faces light up and they think that it's like magic. The
Yeah.
kids use it instead of the hospital lights because the hospital lights are so harsh.
Yeah.
And if you can't sleep at night, the stress and the trauma is even worse. And the kids end up calming down. They're able to sleep at night. The colors are soothing and therapeutic for them. So the doctors have told me that that's all the children, they just use our lights at night. So it has been pretty effective in terms of helping the kids
God
at
bless
night to
God
sleep.
bless you.
Um, but
Yeah.
in any case,
That's here too, if they can get their sleep in there, you know.
exactly. But my point is that you wouldn't blame these children if they were filled with hate or resentment because of all the trauma that, horrendous trauma that they've gone through. But they were the opposite. They were resilient, kind, thankful, grateful, and forgiving. And
Wow.
I thought to myself, they're just like us. These kids where I gave the lamp, I said, "What are you going to do with this lamp?" And he said, "I'm going to go camping." And we have a forest right behind
Oh,
our house in my village. And I'm thinking his village is no longer there because it was bombed. But he said, "I'm going to go back and I want to go camping with my sisters." And I thought, he's just like my son. My son loves camping and he takes our lights out on his camping trips. And it's it's rewarding for me to see that kind of connectivity and interconnectedness of how we're all part of
absolutely.
humanity.
Absolutely. But
And
they
if
do
we
this. I mean, I do yoga and things, and we're always talking about giving your meditation, but you're giving the light. But I see you giving light, but it brings hope, at the same time, it seems like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How does your family, I mean, how do you, as a woman, a mother, manage traveling to these very dangerous places? Also, is your business full time for you, or do you juggle being a professor? I mean, how do you divide up your time or your days?
Well, I'm very fortunate that my company is doing well. It's not a huge company. We're still a small company, but I basically run most of it, and we have a small team that helps with you know Google ads, and we do sell online on Amazon and through our website to people that want our lights for camping or gardening or for power outages. There's been a
Yeah.
60% increase in
Oh,
power
wow.
outages in the
I
United
know.
States.
That's ridiculous. But we did, I have to say to everyone watching, we did order them from Amazon, and I'll go back and order some more so we can, direct them to the causes that you were talking about. So they should have been here, but I'll show it
Oh, I'm so
on
sorry.
I know, on the tablescape, but I can't wait. But we use a lot of solar lights outside or in the garden, as a matter of, course, that we would do that, because
That's great.
yeah, it's pretty, and I think it's economical at the same time. But do
And
you
you're
sell?
lowering your carbon footprint as well.
Yeah, that's what you said. By like, you can save 120 pounds of carbon emissions each year. I mean, that's just fantastic. But are they made locally, or are they made somewhere else?
So they're manufactured in China, and they were designed and invented in New York City.
Yeah.
We basically tried to manufacture them in different countries and even the United States, but the cost came back 5 times more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to keep our costs down,
Yes.
and we manufacture in China.
Yeah.
So we're basically in several different countries with our distributors, like Germany, Japan, Switzerland, France, and they basically cater to the eco-friendly lifestyle, camping outdoors. But the real reason why I started this company was to help people in need. And the
Yeah.
only reason why I invented this thing was to get it to people that have no power. And also, what it's become is this kind of way for me to help children all over the world, because when you don't have light at night, you can't study, you
Mm,
can't work, you are unsafe. Surveillance of having light, even in the United States, when you have street lighting,
yeah.
the amount of crime goes down by 30%. If you're in a tent camp after a disaster, there's human trafficking, kidnapping.
Yeah.
Women are especially vulnerable to being assaulted, especially right after a disaster. So it's very important for me to get our lights to people that are displaced after a disaster, especially for those reasons. And
So you can like sort of mass ship and then focus at one time, or does it come in, sort of in allotted shipments as time goes on, or is it like one big, you know, delivery to Ukraine, one big delivery to Haiti, or?
well, we're still shipping to Ukraine, and luckily, the war has, you know, unbelievable. It's going on 2 years now, and so we're committed to, to help Ukraine. I'm trying to decide whether I should go again to personally deliver, or if we should ship through our new partners that we've met there. Incredible country and incredible people with ferocious, ferocious dedication and loyalty and bravery,
So great.
um,
Yeah.
with what's happening over there, and especially the children are so incredible. Um,
But
in
what do you say about jumping back to the US? Is that what do you say, like with climate chaos, when you see whether it's in the South or in the West with the fires, or I saw you were recently in Hawaii to help supply them.
yeah, Yeah, it's speaking of all the power outages in the United States, it's because of all of the frequency and the magnitude of natural disasters has been increasing exponentially, and you can just witness it every year. So far, 2 earthquakes. We've had the war, we have, fires in Maui, we floods in Libya. It's absolutely critical for us all to work together to try to solve this climate
It is. It's
um,
over.
disaster, really. And I don't think any of us will be able to see the solution. And that's why it's so important for me to speak with children, because they're the ones that are going to carry the burden of this into their lifetimes, and perhaps their children's lifetime, in terms of getting a better solution to what's happening to our environment and the health of our families and children.
I know. I mean, I do garden design besides being a writer and so on. And especially after Superstorm Sandy, when they wanted to cut down more of the trees just for the utility poles here. And I'm saying they should invest in putting those underground, not making every homeowner have a generator so that, we're in this very rich country in affluent areas and we still can't rely on our utility companies in order to provide the power. You don't have lights, you don't have energy. I mean, I see your
Yeah,
product, more and more, going to be used just as a matter of course. People talk about packing these disaster, packages where they'll be ready for whatever comes up. But I see this as a must-have item in that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to talk to some of the power companies because all of you're customers of the power companies, and when the power goes down, wouldn't it be great if they had these for you? But
Well, the other thing that people don't know that I say at my talks is that citizens the utility companies, they appeal to each local government for the right or the privilege to be able to provide the service. But everyone thinks that's just like a quasi-government thing and it just goes through. But they're bidding on that. So people really have a say in what goes on that they don't even realize. So if they're not delivering the services, I don't understand how they can continue to do business.
yeah, absolutely. It's such a shame because I saw it happen in Maui. It was the power company was actually kind of responsible for the fires happening because they saw sparks coming from the power lines, which actually started the fires.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so this is one of our new products, which is called the MegaPuff, and this also charges phones, and this one flat packs as well. And you
I,
can see that the SolarPuff is small, and this one is much bigger.
I see.
Um, so a lot of the solar chargers that you see out there on the market, the solar panel is the size of your cell phone, and that will take a whole like 2 weeks for that to charge because the solar panel is so small. The more area you have for that solar panel, you can harness more energy from the sun, and therefore your battery will charge faster. So we have a number of two products. That was the MegaPuff, and then this is the Quinn. I named it after my son.
I know.
This
I love
this
that.
flat packs and opens up
That is
kind
so
of like
beautiful.
a lotus. People have called it like the Sydney Opera House sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yep. I could see that. I can't wait to use that in designs. I think does that also charge?
Yes, that charges phones as well.
Perfect.
So we have two products out now that can also be a power bank to charge phones, and then we have a series of different lanterns that are origami and they collapse with a folding action. And our products don't require you to put your mouth on them to inflate, which is
Uh,
really critical in terms of being sanitary.
yep.
We have, things like COVID-19 now,
Yeah.
where you don't want to be spreading germs. But globally, you have cholera, Ebola, even Zika, so many diseases that where you don't want to have the risk of putting your mouth on anything.
Exactly. And I think that is all of your designs are so, very thoughtful and practical.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a woman sometimes to just be able to say, I'm just going to, look at this as a solution rather than challenges that are too overwhelming to overcome. I mean, people talk about solar panels and what to do. Have anyone come to you and said, this is too small, or why don't you make something for the homes? I think sometimes things get caught up in, the red tape of, you know, designing and delivering it on a larger scale. But this
Yeah.
is so effective on this scale.
Yeah, well, the thing is, our company and I believe that small things matter. And every one of us has the ability to do something small, like use a small solar lantern. We can't all afford to put a solar array for our house, but we could afford a little solar lamp to protect us in a power outage or save electricity if you're walking to the bathroom at night, or light up your garden or driveway so it's safer. These are all small things. I mean, we can stop using plastics that are non-recyclable. There's so many little things that we can do, and I believe that if we all work together with these small acts, we can change the world. We can heal the planet, because it really did take all of us, each one of us doing something to create the demise that we're in right now and in the environment. So if that can happen, we can work together to heal the planet. So small things matter. And me coming from architecture and being a designer,
Mm.
I believe that beauty, wonder, and awe are just as important as utility, because wonder and awe provides dignity, it provides hope, and it it I've seen places where if you don't have hope, you still end up dying, even though you have utility. You may have food and water, but if you lose hope, that's worse.
That's
So
so true.
the risk of doing nothing is far greater than the risk of being wrong.
Did you have a lot of naysayers as you were bringing this to market to say it's never going to work or it's too
Yeah,
this? Yeah.
actually, there were a lot of men, like lawyers and people, telling me that I couldn't be a CEO and that I'd never get this produced. And I'd like to, do a big shout out to young women and girls out there, because the the mother of invention is necessity, and the daughter of invention is curiosity. Yet they're two female characters, right? But in the United States Patent Office, only 8% women are on patents, and I think that's a huge travesty.
It is.
So I'd like, you know, women and young girls out there, to know that they do have an incredible talent and power inside them, and all you need to do is harness that passion of what drives you and gives you energy.
You're 100% right. I venture to say that probably some of those male patents were probably thought of by women, but they didn't get the chance to put
Exactly.
them on it.
Very true. Marie Curie is an example. She was
Yeah.
added later and not originally to that patent.
Yep, that's 100% true. I wanted to ask, because we're going to be winding down soon, unfortunately. I could keep talking to you forever, but what is your proudest moments? Or, maybe you have many of them, but if you can think about what's given you the most joy or satisfaction or pride, whether, I don't know, if Quinn is, overcome his asthma, or in some of these war-torn or disaster recovery sites where you see some progress, albeit small.
Yeah, albeit small, but again, if I can bring hope to one child, if I can help one child sleep in Ukraine, it was worth it to go. A lot of people ask me, why are you going to these red zones? You could be shot and killed. You could be kidnapped. And I tell them that I'd rather die doing something good, helping people, rather than being here in New York, and I could cross the street and be run over by a bus.
Yep.
So it's all about perspective, I think, and also telling the story, the other perspective of what's happening in those regions, because we're also biased with what's happening on the media or the news, and to really tell people and share the stories of what's really happening and the impact that we're having is so valuable, not
Is.
just to us, but to share, um, the change and
I know.
what.
But you're very, very adventurous. I mean, do you go with a big security force, or, are you?
No, actually, I was asked if I wanted security to go into Ukraine, and I said no. It's fine. I'll be all right. But yeah, it was. I actually met a news crew in Kiev when I was there, who followed me around to the hospitals, and they all had security and bulletproof vests and
Yeah.
stuff, but I didn't have any. And I felt like, okay, well, the typical Ukrainian person in Kiev does not have any of those, so I'm not going to have them. But in any case, it's going back to your question. I'm I don't know. I just started crying one day when I was in Haiti, and I had delivered the lights to children after the earthquake, and I sent pictures to my son,
Mm.
and he said, I'm proud of you, Mom." And I just burst into tears. I
Now
just
I'm
burst
like starting
into
to
tears.
tear up here. I'm gonna cry.
Um,
That's
and
beautiful.
I guess, everything that I do, I try to be a good example for
Yes.
him.
Yeah, that's being a role model and a leader, and that's what the ladies on the show are about. Very inspiring, and you are indeed very inspiring. And I think you have a book that needs to be written by me, but
Oh, I'd love to talk to you about that because there's
yeah,
so many amazing stories just from my trip to Ukraine, and I just came back from Turkey, and
yes,
it's really amazing,
yeah,
how diverse the planet is, but in the end, we're all alike. We're
exactly.
all the same.
Exactly. We can bring that together, but a leader like you knows how to pick up those pieces and knit it together like a big, beautiful quilt, I'll say.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. One last question. This is fun because I wrote a book called, let's see here. These are all my books that I've done here on this shelf, but the one is this
Amazing.
Art of the Garnish. So I have to ask every guest what their favorite cocktail is, and then I do a watercolor rendering of it on a cocktail napkin, and we sell them, and it goes to the ladies'
Oh,
charity. So
wow.
it will go to your charity. So do you have a favorite cocktail that you?
Lately it's been the Aperol Spritz.
Okay, it's so pretty with its orange.
Yes, it's orange and usually has, I think, a little piece of orange in there.
It does as the garnish. Yep. It's very
That,
refreshing and light. I know the people from Aperol, they put on these fabulous events in New York, so the next time they have one, we'll have to go together.
oh, I'd love that. That would be
Yeah,
fabulous.
so they do these great rooftop events and summer party
Wow.
things. Yeah, it's really, really fun. So, any last thoughts? Anything that I haven't asked you that you wanted to say? I mean, I've watched your videos. People can see them again on your website where they can order the products at solarlight.com, right? And they can see your TED Talks and some of the other wonderful things there. So, I'm very, very grateful.
Oh, I thank you, Leanne. It's because of people like you and us working together to create these talks and podcasts to share with the world. That's true collaboration, and I think that we need more of this, and I take my hat off to you and your hard work as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm endlessly curious, and I think that women, we're so used to working in so many different platforms, whether it's at home or at the office or work or volunteering, and being able to juggle all these things. But they have wonderful stories, and they're so inspiring to the rest of us, as you certainly are. So we'll be in touch, and we've got new friends.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.